So now if you have someone who's coming out to do an inspection and you don't trust them, I totally get that. You want to withhold information so that you can see if this person agrees with a previous person or a structural report or something else. But the problem is, or the opportunity, I suppose, or the challenge is that not everybody's going to agree. So here's what makes it so confusing. You'll, let's say, have a structural engineer come out, and the structural engineer says something like, well, monitor what's going on with the house over a period of time, have that person come back, and have them measure it again in 2 years. Well, that doesn't, especially in a real estate transaction, that doesn't really help to make the home more saleable, does it? Because it just says, let's wait and see. And meanwhile, people who've come to look at the house, and if the person who's come to look at the house has asked for an inspection, there may be cracking throughout the house. There may be something else going on that makes them feel uncomfortable. There might be a floor that's sloping. If measurements are taken, it might show that the house is down 2 or 3 inches. Well, the structural engineer's information saying that, yeah, the house is down 2 to 3 inches and monitor it, or looks like that happened earlier in the life of the house, doesn't really help the transaction complete. So the interview, talking with a person about what's going on and what is it that bothers you the most, these things are important discussions. So if this has happened to you, or if you've got comments about that, please push that like button or type in a comment below, and we'll see if we can answer you back. But this is quite a common occurrence. Sometimes in the process of a foundation inspection, the owner, the property manager, the realtor, whomever is calling for a foundation inspection, sometimes they will test the person who's coming to look at the property. And by that I mean, because they don't know whether they can trust the person who's come out to look or not, they will not offer any information. They might even have a structural report from an engineer, and they may not share that information either. And they're doing that because they are testing the person who's coming out, and they want to make sure that whatever diagnosis the new person comes up with matches the data that the structural engineer has, or another inspector came up with, or that sort of thing. So if you've ever had this happen to you, or if you've ever been that person that's tested the person, click on the comments and let me know that that has happened to you, or that's something that you do as well. And if you like what we're talking about, make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel or join Foundation Repair Academy. The same issue occurs when the property owner is absentee, meaning that they don't live in state, they haven't seen the property, it's just what it is. And if a structural engineer were to do the inspection, a lot of times they prefer to look around the property, take their own measurements, to be objective in what they find. And this is often because structural engineers are going to look at it usually from the perspective of, is the house dangerous to live in? Is it structurally sound, even though there may be cracking and other issues with the house? So when you bring someone in who is to be the expert, the interview is important, regardless of whether it's a structural engineer or a foundation repair contractor or a foundation inspector. So you have to provide information to them to make sure that the diagnosis is good. I have had a number of people ask me, how do they get a good diagnosis? How do they know whether the person that they're meeting with knows that it's a good diagnosis or not? And I will tell you that it is important in a visit or an inspection to have what is called the interview. The interview is the discussion between the foundation inspector and the homeowner. And it consists of maybe 10 or 15 minutes where you, as the homeowner or the person who's wanting to buy the house or the person who's inspecting the house, or sorry, the one that's having the inspection done, that they provide good information. It's very difficult when an inspector is going into an apartment building, talking to the tenant to figure out what's going on with the house.